Hey, what's up, masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery podcast. And today, man, we have a cool treat. We are with an IA expert. I'm sorry, AI. See, clearly I'm no expert because I can't even say it right. But AI expert, Khan, and it's spelled though Khan. How are you today, sir?
Good. We know you're not a deep fake, David. That's why, because you didn't say it right. I think you
Deep
get
fake.
right now. People can't tell. Like we can make a deep fake of you running this podcast.
Well, hey, maybe you did a really good deep fake, and that's what we used to get people to think it was really me. You never know, right? It's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
and to make it easier for people to say or remember my name, it's Kham, like .com. So really easy.
.com. It's like that, nice and easy. It's just spelled different, but that we love
Yep.
that. All right, well, listen, thanks for joining us today, man. You have a lot of experience in AI and business transformation. You've been doing it for over 2 decades. Marketing, business consulting, with experience, and also you have a life experience as spending time with as a monk. Is it as a monk or with a monk?
Yeah,
Were you a monk?
as a monk, I've been a monk 3 times.
Holy cow! What is it like to be a monk? How do you become a monk anyway?
I'm Buddhist, growing up, and it's part of when you're a teenager, you do it once. When you're an adult, you do it one time again to kind of bless and provide good luck to your family. And then unfortunately, my dad passed away when I was a teenager, and you do it again to kind of send him to heaven.
Oh wow! Well, sorry to hear about your dad, man.
No, thanks.
And how long does it take to do? Is that something I can do, or do I have to be a
Yeah.
Buddhist?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can go in and do it. Some people will do it for a day or two. Like again, when I did it for my dad's passing, I did it for 2 days. When I did it from as a teenager, I did it for about a week, and then as an adult, I did it for a week. Some people can do it for like a months, um, but at least a week is what you would as a minimum requirement. It's tough to be away from family and your regular life because you're kind of in this solitude. You're at the temple, but I think it's not. If I were to do it again, this is when I was younger. I think I would appreciate the meditative time. I think a lot
Mm,
of people are doing meditation now and mindfulness.
yeah.
Now I get what that means. I was always trying to figure that out when I was doing the meditations and the chanting, and it was tough for me to focus, but I think it helped me because I think back about that and how I apply it to today. Like this, so busy with sales and marketing, running a business, being an entrepreneur. I have a family. I have 4 kids, so just like there's so many things, and we have to be
Mm.
mindful and we have to be intentional. We have to have gratitude and all these different things to have appreciation and excel, on everything we're trying to accomplish for ourselves, but also the people that we serve.
Yeah, amen to that, man. I speaking of going away for a week, I don't know if you knew this or not. My audience probably doesn't know it, but next week I'm actually volunteering for a week as a counselor at a foster camp. Don't even know where the camp is. Literally, they're busing us out on Sunday. Like I'm away from my business, my family. You don't have your phones. Like you get your phones, I guess, at the end of the day or something. I don't know. I don't even know all I know is I went through this whole vetting process. It started like 6 months ago, and all of a sudden it's here in 2 days. so so I'll be gone for a week, man. I'm kind of excited and nervous at the same time, but I get to give back.
I think that's awesome. That's amazing that you're giving back. I think you also got to appreciate, David, that you don't have your phone on you.
Oh, it's gonna be yeah. I am gonna appreciate it. I will
As
appreciate
much
it.
as we're I know it's like attached to our hips, right? All our technology.
Yeah.
But when we don't have the phone, it's almost like a detox.
Bro, we're not even allowed to wear electronic watch. Like you can't even have a watch or any because it's privacy. There's a lot of reasons. It's a state with the church type of a facility. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I was a foster kid, so a lot of people may not know that about me, but I was taken away from my family when I was really young and in foster care. So for me, it's a great way to give back and help some of these kids and get out there and share a message and some scripture. And so yeah, I'm excited, man.
Oh, you gotta let me know how it goes when you get back.
I
That is
will. I will. Hopefully, Hopefully I'll make it back. I won't try to escape. I'm kidding. I'll be going crazy over my phone. But no, I think a day or so it'll be fine. But let's get back to you, man. Let's make this about you, right? Since we're interviewing you today. So again, 2 decades of marketing and business consulting experience. You are the CEO of Profound Effect. Khan has driven
Actually,
business.
compound effect,
Yeah, what did I say?
profound,
Oh, did I
profound.
say profound? Losing my mind, bro. See, I need better. See, this is a problem with my glasses, man. I feel like I need a new prescription, right? And so thank you. The compound effect, and you've driven businesses to achieve remarkable growth, with some clients seeing over a 90% increase in revenue. Holy cow. I like that, man. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. I know like you and I connected offline and then you had this podcast. I was happy to be a guest. I mean, you know what you do and the people you serve and the guests that you guys have. It's an honor to be on your show.
Yeah, thank you, man. And yeah, I know you and I are working on a project together, which is exciting. And we just spent the last 40 minutes or so kind of using AI to build out a whole model. And that's what you do, right? You go into businesses and you kind of help them well, you tell us. Tell us why should a business owner first off be listening to this conversation, in your opinion?
Uh, the main thing that we're extremely busy with, right, is AI literacy and training in the integration. But our lens on it is my background, my lens, and I have a team of people. The whole philosophy of compound effect is having the right experts or the right partners or the right companies coming in at the right time for your company. If you do things the right way, you do get the compound effect versus like, where you see or hear about companies who complain, I didn't reach my goals or this didn't work. Oftentimes it's either it wasn't done right or you didn't have the right people. You can have processes and systems in place all you want, but if you don't have the right people behind it getting it done, then that's when it fails. Um, so I have this excellent group of experts, who are part of my compound effect network. And what I do from marketing, sales, branding, customer experience, that's really like that's my focus. And I have other folks on my team who do like operations, HR, leadership development, branding, video. So the ecosystem of a business is very complex, but they're all connected, like brains of a neuron, right? Everything's firing, working together. And that's how we approach businesses. I have I'm part of the brain over here, and operations over here. You got finance, you got customer success, and we all work together. Oftentimes, companies come and see us and say, we're trying to grow, but we're not hitting our revenues, or like I need marketing help, or I need like my website needs to get updated, or my social media, or we're having a tough time retaining and recruiting. When we peel that onion and kind of really get to the core of what the issue is, oftentimes we see it's brand. And what I mean by brand is just like brand identity, like understand like your why and what you do, your core values. If people understand that clearly internally, even like sales teams, for example, they'll get buy-in, whereas and clients externally, if they understand your value, your brand, like a lot of the strong brands out there, Patagonia, Tom's, Apple, like they tell their story well, and then people want to buy your product. They want to associate themselves to you. People want to work for you because again, you have this people understanding your brand. Once you make that the core part understanding of your business, then the rest of it you can build off of that, right? Your operations process off of that, your sales process, your marketing. So, on the AI front, we accelerate all of these elements. AI operations with AI, sales with AI, marketing with AI, like, customer experience with AI, because it's not going away. Like Apple just released, they had their big conference, I think last week, and they're infusing AI everywhere. Like so many people have Apple phones. So they're in a way, I don't want to say force, but they're kind of saying like, look, it's here. Learn how to integrate this into your lives. Google is putting it everywhere. Like we're seeing it everywhere, and it's been around. Like even think about if you're watching Netflix, it's already making recommendations for you. That's AI. That's been around for years, but they just never called it AI. Anytime you see suggestions when you're checking out at Amazon or the carts, it's making recommendations. even pretty neat. Like I was checking out of an item the other day, and it said, "Oh, do you need any of these items?" It knew my buyer behavior in
Mm,
cadence, and actually it was some hair product, that I'm like, that's right, I'm actually running low on that. So like that's all AI. So what I try to help people understand is just AI literacy. Like, what does this mean for your business today? How can we, you know, incorporate better workflows, look at other technologies that have AI to save you time. If you save time, but also increase revenue, that's the ultimate
it's
goal.
massive.
You know,
Yeah, massive. Well, and to my question, which was a pretty broad question, but the answer is because it's everywhere and you can't ignore it anymore. And if you are ignoring it, you're going to fall behind, right? Like that's the bottom line. So I love what you do. You and I have met a couple times now, and we've talked about collaborating on some stuff. Um, I know you talked about brand first off, kind of get your brand right. But when somebody brings you in, typically somebody reaches out to you. Why does somebody reach out to you? What does somebody say? Hey, I need you to come. What are the most common things you hear why someone would reach out to you and bring you in?
um, retaining recruiting. We have issues getting the right people to come into, or people like we have this great product and great company, been around for 20 something years, but we can't get good people to work here.
Mm,
Uh, missing sales revenue goals. We we have this great product or great service, but no one knows that we have this exists, or we're not getting enough people to buy this. Um, Same thing. We have this product, but we also sell this. No, so cross selling, upselling. No one knows we do this now. Um, when it comes to marketing, it's just brand. People don't know we exist. So it's almost like marketing and sales it has this like Venn diagram. There's like a weaving of it, right? So some people don't know if it's a marketing problem or sales problem, but it all really strums to the core of they don't know that we do this, and I need to have people know that we do this so that we can have more sales, and to have more sales,
mm.
to have more profits. So we see it from a marketing sales standpoint, and then the other side that we see often is retaining and recruiting.
I think most people though don't really like if somebody's sales are down in their company or they're not attracting the right talent, they don't always equate that to I need better AI, right? Like that's not the first thing someone's going to think. Right? So
No, and
you're
that's
coming,
why.
yeah. So that's where we're bringing you in here to give them right to give like this again. I'm gonna bring it back to what I said is like we can't be ignoring this anymore. Like I since I had my first meeting with you, and now I realize sometimes if I'm on phones, like if I call like Geico or companies like that, I'm actually speaking with an AI, and I didn't know it before, and now I know it. And the reason I know it is because I'll ask them a question that they can't answer, and then they say, "Okay, let me transfer you to to someone else." It's kind of funny. So I've been playing games a little bit with the AI.
But David, right? Like, look how seamless the experience was, and that's where it is today. Imagine where it's going to be in 3 4 months, and the advancements of just like that really natural conversation has just
Mm,
improved really in the last a few months. So like the exponential growth and the improvement of AI it's crazy. There was a story that a CFO got in trouble because he got sold on a deal over the phone for $20 million, and it was AI. It was an AI sales bot. And there's another company. There's a real case study. I forgot the name of the brand of the company. They unfortunately they laid off 700 customer service people because the AI can do a lot of the role. And this is the message I'm trying to get out to businesses is like we have to wake up and realize like if you don't understand this capability, this technology today, it's going to be a rude awakening to companies, to people, to departments, to industries. So like we have to address this today because it's already here, but some people are just in this denial, or like I'm just gonna wait and see, or they think it's a buzzword. It's
yeah.
not. It's here. A lot of times, companies sometimes don't want to maybe kind of use the word AI. They just like weave it in, and they just are putting it into the workflows, right? And you experience that already on a call. So the reality is, what I hear most companies says, I can't get good people. I can't find good people to do sales, to do marketing, to do this. Now they're replacing those roles or responsibilities with AI. And it's giving a lifeline to businesses who are scaling and growing, right? As you scale and grow, you need more people to do the work. But if you can't find the good people, insert AI. And that's what we're seeing. And we're helping companies do AI integrations
So
to fill that pain point gap.
let me ask you a question. So I'm 36 years in sales, 2 books, been with some of the best sales organizations in the world. I do not believe anybody else can do what I do. Like I've hired so many salespeople over the years, and I found some really good ones, but they're not me, right? You're saying essentially we could create like, and I love this. To me, this is if I could go out and create an AI version that can do what I do, and then have 2 or 3 of those. To me, that's
Yep.
a no brainer.
There are right now the enterprise companies, again, this is available to small businesses, mid-size, startups. um they are scaling their sales team, their SDR, their AEs, like all of that. So
What's
because
SDR for people?
sales development reps, right? Like
Got it.
basically boots on
Okay.
the ground, like kind of like the ones that doing
AE
like the dialing,
assistant,
the call,
an executive.
dialing just tons of calls, high
Got it.
volume. But now you don't have to, pay benefits and all these other things, right? And it's doing the output, it's executing
Crazy.
the work, it's having very natural language conversations. It's fine tuned too because we can clone a similar AI bot like your cadence. Like what you do is you train it. Here's our cadence. Here's our philosophy. Not just mine, but here are also the best practices from other like sales gurus out there. But this is our point of view on our company here. So you can refine it and
Sure.
it learns. It learns and it learns and it learns, just like I hate to say it, right? Just like a human, it starts to learn and it makes it'll make its own um decisions when it's having these conversations. Like it's crazy. Like I didn't believe it myself too. Like I'm confident in my marketing abilities, but I've seen the output of these systems and it's phenomenal. Like how accurate, and it also uncovers gaps that I wasn't aware about. Like I was like, oh, that actually was a good suggestions. So I use it all the time to either kind of check the work that I'm doing, but also uncover any maybe blind spots that I might not be aware about.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the benefits. Talk about like when somebody comes to you, maybe it's their numbers are down. They maybe want to look at, hey, I need a maybe a different way of doing this, or they're trying to find some talent. They can't attract the right people. Well, first off, why aren't most of these companies attracting the right people to them? Like, what would you say is the gap there that you can fix?
There's a disconnect between leadership and how they view their brand and what the brand really is. Basically the positioning of the company, what they do, why they do it, how they do it. Because they don't communicate that well internally. If you ask C-suite to say, what is our product or what is our brand? What's our value proposition? They will all give you different answers. A company who's crushing their brand, who's doing it really well, it's weaved into their culture. They will all say the same answer.
Mm,
That's the difference between companies who are winning and the ones that are losing or having difficulty recruiting and retaining talent. The ones who don't really understand the essence of their company, their brand. So we usually help companies really understand and articulate that better, maybe refining what they already have or rebooting it and redoing it because they haven't really validated what their brand is. And again, brand is not colors. I'm talking about like the essence of a company, like why it
mm,
exists. Uh, Validating that with your customers, like going out there having conversations, not just looking at data sheets. That's still fine. That's quantitative data, but having the qualitative data, having the deep insights, the conversations, getting feedback, like this is what our clients really want. This is what they need. And then making sure that your brand aligns with that. That's usually the disconnect that we're seeing. That's external. Internal, same thing. Talk to our employees. Talk to the folks that we interviewed, and why didn't we why weren't we able to win that candidate to come here? having that qualitative feedback to then improve your brand so that you're resonating with your employees and potential new employees.
So what it sounds like, and if I'm listening to this, which obviously I am, as there's going to be people that are saying, well, geez, is this going to replace me? Should I be scared? Like, so what would you say to those people where the reality is, like you said, they're laying off, a company laid off, I think you said 20,000 employees or something, and they're replacing these employees with AI. So what can people do to combat that? And should you be scared? What should you be doing as you're hearing this conversation?
I think it's tough. The best economists, the best scientists, everyone's trying to. That's like the $1 trillion question. How much jobs is AI going to displace? The first job it's going to really kind of take over is knowledge workers versus blue collar, like hands-on workers. But it's the evolution of what we need to do, like toll booth workers, right? That was normal, but now it's a sensor,
Yeah,
right?
makes sense.
You had when you had to nail something, you had a rock, then you have a hammer, now you have a nail gun. Like AI is like a nail gun. Like imagine the use cases, how fast you can get work done, but you still need a human to work that nail gun. That's where we're at today. You still need a human to do these things. AI is still, it's just going to help make you more productive. It's going to take the tedious tasks out of your way. It's going to just help you automate things that was taking time. Like I think you and I were working on this project together, and something that would have taken 2 weeks, we had a pretty decent outline done 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but we had to refine it. As you saw, there was some things like, oh, let's add this to it, right? You still needs that human touch to it. We don't know yet. They call it AGI, where it actually will be just as intelligent as a human. That's probably not going to happen. They're saying, these scientists, 2-3 years out.
It's scary though. 2-3 years is
within the
scary. I
decade.
thought you were going to say 20-30 years. You said
That's
two. Yeah, that's wild.
But that's the truth. It's scary because like I think of that. I'm like, holy moly, what are people gonna do? This is like a rude awakening that no one's prepared for. And I'm trying to do my best just to kind of spread the message, like AI literacy, like just understand what that means, how it impacts all of your departments. All of your departments are gonna get impacted. So if they understand, like again, if you understand like how a nail gun works, you can find new applications for it. The analogy I like to use is like it's like the discovery of electricity. When you discovered that, there's so many use cases for electricity now. Now you have AI. If you understand its capabilities, there'll be a lot of different use cases for it.
Yeah, that's smart. So really for everybody listening right now is you need to start getting, like, what would you say to people listening? Like, what should they be doing right now when it comes to their business, when it comes to AI?
When I started using it, I was using it focusing on, and we were doing it 2 years ago. Like AI really got big over the last year because of ChatGPT when it came out by the company OpenAI. When that came out, it boomed, and that's been around for about a year. But we were doing it for like over 2 years ago because when I was running a marketing agency, we were trying to scale content creation, right? So we wanted to look at AI and look at other ways to also streamline workflows and operations. So when AI boom started really happening a year ago, this was just a really natural thing for us, and that's where I got into the training of it and kind of literacy of it. So I just was curious. Like I was hearing this thing, and for people to begin, there's free resources. If you Google and search for AI training or what is AI for beginners, Google has some free resources. Microsoft has some free resources. Apple has some free resources. There's tons of them out there. So there's no excuse, David, for anyone to say, I was surprised. None.
Yeah. So I think you either need to figure out how to work the AI, or you're going to be working, I hate to say it, you're going to be working for the AI, right? At the end of the day. So check this out. Here's an example, another example. So I'm going to show you guys this photo for you guys that are watching it. So here's so this little thing right here. It says God loves you, right? You see that? And it's got some fingers, it's got a blue sky, it's a little note. ChatGPT 4.0, I described this and asked it to create it for me, and it created this image. 3 months ago, you could not do that. At least I couldn't find, like, I have AI, apps on my phone that create images. It could not get it right. Now all of a sudden it can bang that out. And then I said, okay, give me another iteration of that on the palm of a hand, and it just right away changed it. Like, that's wild.
Now, video is going to be a big push going into 2025. Like, you can just say, I want to see raindrops over the Sahara Desert with a panda riding a bicycle.
And it's going to create a video.
And it would look like high production, like someone spent 2 weeks shooting this thing.
Wow.
In seconds. So that's coming down the pipeline right now. Like, there are some like video tools you can do to create like some B-roll, which is like, stock footage. But by the end of this year, going into next year, like, it's gonna be so well done where you're not even gonna know the difference that it was AI created or it was actually professionally produced.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love it, man. I'm definitely playing with it. So we have listeners, mostly salespeople, entrepreneurs, business owners, right? Real estate agents. Wow, let's talk about real estate. What should real estate agents? How can, I mean, everybody, but I want to focus on real estate agents for a minute. Like, what would you say to the real estate agent? How do you become better as a real estate agent using AI?
The real estate agency has been using the technology already. Like, they've been looking at patterns, and because it's a lot of data around markets and things like that. So you can actually start to forecast and predict markets with AI if you use it correctly to ask it the right questions too. You can actually just have it look at all the different data points and then make a prediction for you with pretty close accuracy. So like, if you're trying to strategize of like, where should I sell, or where should I move to other markets where there's opportunities for me to maybe okay, I'm having a tough time in this market, I want to go into another market. Like, as long as you give it some good data, it will actually be this like assistant to you to help strategize, where you want to go to market, how to position into a new market, maybe even how to sell a house if you haven't, like, say for example, let's say you're doing a deal and the deal falls through, or it's kind of having some issues, and you're trying to figure out how to write an email that's professional but don't sound defensive. You can give the AI, let's say ChatGPT, for example, put in like, here's the context of what's happening on this deal. But this is what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm trying to save it. And I think there's a misunderstanding because of 1, 2, and 3. Write me an email that's professional, that has some urgency, but doesn't sound like desperate. Right. And then boom, it'd write it. Like, that's where you can leverage it for communications, because real estate agents, I feel, have to do a lot of communications, and this has to be like empathy, right? Also in those communications. So again, these are people who are buying homes. This is like their livelihood, and they're trying to picture themselves in this new home, and they're also trying to make sure that they can afford it. So you can have AI really help you in that communication aspect, which I think I always feel issues arise because of communication, or solutions arise because of communications. So
Yeah.
if you can really leverage communication well, again, with a tool like AI, it's going to really help you be a better professional, but also personally as well.
Yeah. I like what you notice people may not have picked up on it, but you gave some prompts when you said create the email, and that's what's going to be the difference maker. Professional, urgent, not desperate, right? Like, I'll do that. I'll say I want to direct and to the point email, but also I want to be courteous and have some empathy in there, right? But also, at the end, create some urgency, right? So like, the prompts really make a difference.
Yeah, one tip that I like to use, because like, some people just say make it casual, and that's like really broad.
Yeah,
Like, I want a casual tone, or
Too
business
much.
casual. So usually I'll say, you say relatable. I go, I want it in a
I like
relatable
that.
tone, and then that actually helps it refine it much better. Because at the end of the day, we're all human, right? I'm another dad probably talking to another dad, right? No matter if I'm an executive or not. So people just want to feel like we're talking at the same level. So I always say, write it. I'm I'm sending this email to, again, to a potential buyer, right? But he is a scientist. So even given that background, like he's a scientist. He's looking to buy this house. But he's asking me all these questions that are very like a lot of data, and it's very calculated. So I want to make sure I email him in a way that meets him with his style of communication.
Smart. Yeah.
But I want it relatable. Boom, hit enter. And that's how you can kind of personalize these communications if you also understand like who you're writing to, what audience you're writing to. That's what AI does very, very well.
Yeah, I can see adding behavior to the equation as well. The AI start to understand like disc assessment, for an example. So if you're writing an email to a so for me, I'm like short, I'm a direct to the point type of guy. So if you send me a super long email, you get these super emails with like 5,000, like just like 3 or 4 pages long. Like I just delete them. I make it through 2 paragraphs. But if someone sends me a short and sweet, direct to the point email, I'll usually read the whole thing and go through it. Right. So you got to know your audience too. How much of that? How much of that is AI? Like, are they tracking like everything we do, like on social and all that stuff? I know actually, yeah, there was just something I don't know all the details on it, but there's a lot of something about the new app. You mentioned the Apple phone earlier, right? Is there some, I don't know. I'm not, there's some type of like people are not happy about something to do with privacy, or I probably should have done some more research before we started talking about this.
You don't have to do this. Is where you're at with this, David, is where the majority of people are at, right? So a tip I always give people is before you go and just download an app or like, here's the next shiny bright AI tool out there that's gonna like, you know, save me hours a day, whatever it is, like do the research to find out who's behind the technology, like who's the person, where's the company based out of. Like you gotta trust, because anyone can spin up, a company that looks like AI. Like I can do that. I can spin up
Hmm.
40 of these things over a weekend, right? And then you have to do the due diligence. Like, is this a real company? Um, who's the CEO behind it? Because you also have to be aligned. Because just because you have a CEO title, the person who's running this company could be someone that you don't have the same values when it comes to privacy or things like that. That's why like some of these companies that have a really cool product, but they're not focused on like the privacy side. They're really just looking at the output. So privacy is a big deal. I think people need to understand, like if you share if you're prompting things and you're sharing like photos and things like that, that's getting saved on their servers. And they have that information now of you and anything else that you put into their system. So you got to make sure you read their privacy terms and conditions. Because let's say that company gets bought out, David, all of that data goes with that new company. And we don't know what that new company is going to do with with that data. Maybe they open it up now. That's why, like your data, how you hand something off to a company, do you trust that company? So you like Apple, right? That's a company that is really big on security, and I trust that company, that brand. So if they come out with a product, I have no issues. But if you have this other company you never heard of, like you got to do a little due diligence.
So I think what I was referring to is some, and I don't know all the details. Like I said, I don't spend as much time on there, but on Spaces, which is X, Elon Musk's Twitter app, but they have an audio version called Spaces. There was a lot of spaces around Elon saying he wasn't going to allow the new iPhones to have run X for some reason, and it
Oh,
had something to do with. Are you familiar with that?
yeah,
The
yeah. So it's a
privacy.
little, it's actually internal drama. So he used to be involved and on the board with OpenAI. So OpenAI has ChatGPT. That's the company that
Hmm.
has ChatGPT. So he's no longer associated with OpenAI. So it's kind of like a breakup. Like he has his like this. So he just has his like vendetta against them. So OpenAI has a partnership now with Apple. So
Oh,
think of it
okay.
like the girlfriend who like went to go date someone else, so now you're not like so you're kind of jealous and you're like, well, no, so he's jealous of Apple, so now he's trying to like block all Apple products. Like, if,
Oh,
which
got
I
it.
mean, think about how many people have Apple phones, right? Like,
That's
there's gonna
tough.
be an
Yeah,
uproar of
I'm all
employees.
Apple.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, the things that he says and does, like, I don't know. Like, I just sometimes feel like he kind of like reacts first before he like thinks it through. We'll see
Yeah.
how it plays out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, he can get away with that. He's Elon. Um, all right. So anyway, in kind of wrapping up, and we got to do this again. We got to do this again. So I know we're going to. Um, what I mean, what do you want our people to take from this? I know we jumped in a lot of different directions. That's my fault. But like, if you had to kind of tie it down, bring it back to like the one thing you want the people to take. Like if somebody just listened to this, what would you say? Here's the one thing I want you to take from it, and here's what I want you to do now. What would be the next step?
I would say go try out these tools. The two tools I would try out is one's called Perplexity. Perplexity, I use that more than Google. It's like for me, it's like a search engine. Does really good research.
Perplexity, spell it. How wait,
Perplexity, yep.
yeah.
Perplex
P L.
XLY. Perplexity.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I don't think there's an L in there.
Perplexity. I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
Perplexity. And
Okay.
then ChatGPT, which is from OpenAI. Make sure you download the right one. There's a lot of ones that look similar to OpenAI's logo. Just make sure it's the correct one on the if you're using an Apple, like in the Apple Store. But it's free too. Just play with it. Like, just ask it to do something for you, and you're gonna see like how useful it is. Like, even if you take a picture of your refrigerator, you can say, "Look at the food in my refrigerator. Tell me what I can make tonight for dinner."
Wow.
Yeah, I just had it book me build a
That's the new.
3-day.
Is that the free version of ChatGPT, or do you need to have the 4.0 for that?
The paid version helps you do that, but the free version is supposed to be able to have the free version is going to get enhanced where you will have the ability to do all those things
Wow.
soon if it's not already available. Um, but to me, for $20, like, I think there's so many productivity gains for just $20 a month. That's my other best recommendation is like spend the $20. You're never gonna regret it.
Clearly, if people listen to this, it's obvious you know what you're talking about. You've been doing this for a while. How much time a day do you spend on ChatGPT and other tools like this?
I use it every day. I don't know if I want to say I use it for several hours, but I'm always using it. It has saved me easily over 10 hours a week. I work a 4-day work week. Like, I take, one day off a week because I'm that productive.
Hmm.
And I can spend more time with my family. I can do other things. I take that time to really do a lot of family stuff. 'Cause the weekends are tough with the 4 kids, so I use that time to get my honey to do list done.
Do you start your creation there though? Most like is it like 90%, 100%, or is it like you're like, okay, I'm gonna like for us, we're gonna do this course. The first thing we did was we went to ChatGPT, OpenAI, right? Like, is
Yeah,
that is
I said I want to do a program together with David. I go, this is his specialty. This is what I do. But I also said research. I said research what David does, so that way it provided context for it.
mm,
Um, and but that thread, that chat flow, I already trained it to be a strategist. So that's why I didn't have to give it context. If you start a brand new thread, some people call it like building it like a bot, you have to say, like, I need you to be a marketing strategist with 20 years of experience and you specialize in doing real estate strategy. Then you hit enter, and then you can say, hey, now you can give it the ask. Say, I'm looking to build a program, David, to train people how to do like real estate sales. So you have to kind of create the persona first, like basically
so
what
you
do you want it to
teach it.
be, and then it takes that, it embodies that identity once you give it that persona first.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant, man. Well, anything else today, man, that I didn't cover that you want to throw out there to people or
Um, I think, I tell this to my kids and I want to tell to people, as you guys are on Google and on search engines, you cannot believe what you read, hear, or see anymore. there's so much AI content out there today. Like it's scary, right? You just got to double check and check the resources. Like, it's tough to believe what's out there because so much junk is getting produced. So that's the best tip I can give you out there.
So
If you
give
have to
us an
live in
example. Why is that, like, why is that important? What's the challenge with that?
AI is really good at doing persuasive copy. It can write really persuasive articles, so it can also be really biased. So you can flood the internet with biased content, and it starts to think it's the truth, but it's
Mm,
just a point of view. You can also do a lot of deepfakes. I think this is going to be an election year coming up, right? We're going to see a lot of some really, I think, edgy commercials with deepfakes in them, and people aren't going to realize they're deepfakes. So it's so easy to make people look like they're doing something that wasn't really them.
that's wild. I'm thinking, so like I met somebody yesterday. I did a workshop. She's they sell copy equipment, copy machine, printers, etc. And they're like they keep getting hung up in the in the clothes, or they're getting objections. As I'm listening to you and thinking, like, I want, like, you could go to like chat gpt and say, hey, here's what I do, here's who I am, this is what I sell. And every time I ask the person, after doing my demo, I ask them if they're ready to move forward, and they say no, they got to think about it, like, how should I handle that, right? And it will give you like a strategy, right? Or you could even
Now,
ask, like, what do you think my challenge is, right?
I'll even do one better. Let's role play. It could role play right there with you.
Oh, you role play with the chat. Oh, wow. Yeah.
I've actually had my daughter who was in this mock trial for her 5th grade class. I set it up and I say, I need you to role play. I gave the context. She's in 5th grade. This is her role. This is what she's defending. And I want you to critique her and improve her rebuttals. Yeah. And it was amazing.
Brilliant. I was at an event in Dallas a week and a half ago, and the guy who was facilitating the event, he used ChatGPT to have it start interviewing him for a podcast live with a voice. He told the voice he wanted it to use. It was wild. And so I'm like, I'm actually, that's on my list of things to do. I want to do that soon. I want to have ChatGPT interview me for my podcast. So that's coming up soon, man. So keep your eyes open for that, y'all listening. Khan, how do we get in touch with you, man?
You can find me on my website at getcompoundeffect.com, or check me out on my LinkedIn. Connect with me. Kham Inthirath. You can see here Inthirath. And those are the two best places to get a hold of me.
I love it, man. Well, we appreciate you being here today. Thank you for investing the time. And again, just give us one last final. I'm gonna give you the last word, final word of wisdom for everybody listening to this when it comes to AI.
AI and in life. This is actually a sign that I wrote and put it in my home gym, and my kids see this every day as well. Is if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
Beautiful.